William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1, and today is supposed to be President Trump's inaugural. He was supposed to be sworn in as president. Biden was supposed to be shown the door. Guess what? It didn't happen. Surprise, surprise. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, today's subject is the Infiltrator. It should be the Infiltrators, but at the moment, we're going to go with the Infiltrator, because that's what we have. We have an allegation being made that someone is infiltrating a group, or several groups in this case, to get information on their actions that can be turned over to law enforcement. And so who is this Infiltrator? It is none other than Timmy Hoffa, allegedly. And how did I come to the conclusion that Timmy Hoffa is infiltrating the alt-right groups who are primarily on alt-right channels, where some of them may be plotting against the United States government, as well as taking part in some other unlawful actions? Well, to start this off, there was this picture that was posted along with the headline that Timmy Hoffa was falsely being reported as dead, and he is actually in witness protection. That was the gist of the purpose of this particular photograph. Now, there's a problem. Anybody that knows anything about how the process works knows that this is not an acceptable proof of life. Because all you have is an individual standing against a wall with his face blotted out and a cryptic message. In this case, it's high cred. Now, this is very clever, and it's also very sloppy. Because anyone who would take the time to examine this picture would see the flaw. All you're seeing is a guy standing against the wall with a t-shirt on that says witness protection, with his face blotted out. Doesn't say who it is, other than the headline. You're supposed to assume it's this guy, based on this rather sloppy presentation. And people start asking questions. Stating questions. Why is his face blotted out? Why isn't there a live video? Why didn't he at least put up a newspaper with a current date on it? A national newspaper like USA Today, which wouldn't be regionally identifiable. It's a paper that's published throughout the United States. There's no local edition. It's a national newspaper. Easy pleasy. That wasn't done here. And so, let's look at a few things. And this gets to my video. Now, I went out and I purchased the Witness Protection Program t-shirt. You can get them on eBay. can get them on Amazon. Costs about $12, $4.95 for shipping, depending on the vendor. These shirts have been sold for years, even before Trump came into office. Anybody that knows anything about the entertainment industry knows about the "You Don't Know Me" slogan and its tie-in to witness protection. So, why do this at all? You can still claim he's in witness protection and not even have a picture up there, because he didn't accomplish a damn thing. It didn't stop the questioning. It only made it worse for these very reasons. This is where we get into the allegation of Timmy Hoffa being an infiltrator. Now, law enforcement uses different tools when they're investigating criminal actions. They have anonymous sources, witnesses that want to remain anonymous, like they do on Crime Line. You have the confidential informant. Now, this is basically the same thing, except for a confidential informant is known by law enforcement, and the CI is normally paid for the information that they bring to law enforcement. The CA is either somebody, The CI is generally somebody known to law enforcement because of either low-level criminal offenses or someone that just knows the environment, the neighborhood, knows the people in various criminal enterprises and so forth, and they are in a situation where they can provide entertainment, or they can provide information on various criminal actions. And then there's the mole, the infiltrator, the insider. This is a guy or gal who's on the inside, gathering information from the inside. A spy, so to speak, or double agent. And the use of infiltrators is more common than you think. In the case of the investigation of the Capitol insurrection, plus other criminal actions tied to these domestic terrorists, there are a lot of infiltrators. These are people that were in the system, maybe got caught, maybe got in a situation where they realize it isn't such a bright idea to be tied into this group, so they've made a deal with law enforcement to provide insider information in exchange for immunity from prosecution. Now, remember what's being alleged of Timmy Hoffa and his little group. These people are raising money under false pretenses. This is known as wire fraud. They are declaring that they are part of they created the PPTF, and it is mandated by President Trump, former President Trump, to combat pedophiles and to dole out information to the public through this one individual. He's the only one authorized to dispense this information. Nobody in the government can do it. It has to be this one individual. And then we've got these people using the government agency, military agency in this case, down in St. Petersburg, Florida. Now, these are felonies. These things are against the law. If prosecuted, these people can go away for decades, 10, 20, 30 years for the cumulative offenses here. Plus they can be investigated under RICO because they're engaging in organized crime, racketeering. So we've got that. So why haven't these people been arrested? Why aren't they in jail? Because somebody made a deal. And the government said, well, have you got anything worth making a deal with? And the infiltrator says, yes, I'm on the inside. I know all these people. I know a famous lawyer in Georgia. I can get you names, dates, plans, telephone numbers, addresses. I can get all of that. Because I'm building up an audience of all these very important right-wing groups and their members. And they're paying attention to me, so I can get all this information and give it to you. And so the government says, all right, this is what we'll do for you if you do this for us. And so all of a sudden, you get a whole bunch of reorganizing going on. Now, let's start with the earliest signs of this. All the content on YouTube disappears. All the content on Facebook disappears that have to do with this individual's name. All the content on Twitter disappears. Now, ostensibly, it was because he was violating their terms of service, but maybe not. Maybe it was all set up to make it look like he got kicked off these websites because he was trying to build up his reputation. And another clue that's kind of interesting. There's a dude I call Redbeard. People call him Preacher Dan. He made a video. In the video, he made a rather interesting complaint.
That Timothy's phones are tapped and we can't communicate with Timothy at all. Which to me seems very bizarre. It seems as if we're not able to get a hold of Timothy in any way. Also, it's been communicated that Timothy has sold the rights of his website, of all of his books, to a lady named Randy Erickson, which also seems really, really bizarre. Timothy has been advised not to talk to anybody who knows him or who has been communicating with him.
Basically bought him out. Took over control of his social media accounts, his blogs, everything. Basically became Timmy Hoffa's producer and talent agent. The handler has power of attorney over his affairs. Rather convenient. Because Timmy Hoffa could disappear, be pushing daisies or tied to a cinder block, and because this individual has power of attorney, could hide where he's at and hide his mortality status. So the dates are interesting. Let's take a look at his current blog. Now, the current blog is a pretty decent blog. It's compartmentalized. You got everything in order at the top. You've got things like the old blog, the current BitChute channel, the Gab channel, the 2 donation sites, the threats site. You have all these individual things compartmentalized. This is something that was not done on this old blog. The old blog was rather bland, relied on videos. It was a minimalist blog, a lot like the kind that I do, or used to do. So the style and format changed. The vocabulary changed. You had articles in the blog that always sent you to BitChute, to the high command, which is something else that's interesting about this particular. Now let's go over to this website. There is a website, or a channel I should say, that has his name on it, his full name. And look at the date that the website was or the channel was started. It's been there for quite a while. Now go over and look at the last entry. September. Rather interesting that a lot of things happened in September. My trip to Minnesota happened in September. And 5 months and 1 week ago, the High Command was born. Now, isn't that interesting? That right around the same time that the last entry was made in the channel with his name on it, and the creation of the High Command is about the same time frame. Very, very short differences. So what happened? Same thing is true of the blog, by the way. If you look at when that blog was created and look at the last time the old blog, which is still linkable from the new blog, it's like, okay, we're going to shut this down and we're going to start this one up. We're just going to leave this one here as an archive. And all of a sudden, it's virtually overnight. Everything changes. The style is completely different. Now, the skill set that's shown in the blog is not translated into the High Command channel on BitChute. It's 99 times out of 100, 3 or 4 minute PowerPoint presentation with the use of the same song through the entire presentation, with the exception of a couple of times when they've interjected commentaries from other sources, but never from him. It's always other sources, or else if it is him, it's old commentary he's made from over a year ago. There is nothing current from Timmy Hartha. Absolutely nothing current. And so this is when all the speculation started, is why all of a sudden are we not hearing from Timmy Hartha? Why all of a sudden all this material that's showing up on these various locations old? What's going on here? And as if by magic, here comes the t-shirt. The guy with the black square and Craig. Hi, Craig. Just a still image, nothing more. Witness protection. Already gone over this. But at the same time, an ever-increasing amount of attacks against other people. Craig, me, the lawyer from Florida, again, one of my moderators falsely accused, and even with clear evidence that the handler was wrong, they've doubled down on this false claim. What's going on here? And magically, a quote, close friend sends Lynn Wood an article by Timmy Hartha. And they brag about it. They put up there, underlined and everything, Lynn Wood wants you to read this article. But what they do not put up there is the texts that were exchanged between Craig Sawyer and Lynn Wood, where Craig Sawyer pointed out to Lynn Wood who Timmy Hopper really was. And Lynn Wood responds, I don't know the guy. I just was sent the article by a close friend, and I figure let people read it and make up their own mind. That's not really offering a whole heck of a lot of support to Timmy Hopper. It's saying, yeah, I published this article without knowing who the hell the guy was or knowing if he had a credible background. Oops. But I respect you, Craig. I admire your work. I know you. You're a friend. But Timmy Hopper and his crowd still go after Craig Sawyer. So you have to ask yourself, what's going on here? But at the same time, he mirrors the points of view of these people that are on these various channels. Now, you go to their channels, it's very right-wing. I get questioned, what the hell am I doing there? I'm a quote-unquote lefty to these people. Why would I be over on this bastion of the right wing? Well, because I'm keeping an eye on these people. These people won't shut up about me, for one. They're keeping this shit up. If they would shut up and leave me alone, I would probably leave them alone. Although, because of this latest development, I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. Because the only thing that makes sense, based on what I have been finding out over the past few weeks, is that Timmy Hopper may be a mole. And that the reason he put up that picture was not as a proof of life, but deliberately done in such a sloppy way is to make people think that this is a hoax saying he is alive when he is actually not alive. That they are doing this to try and trick the violent factions of these various movements in the right-wing sector into believing he's dead, so they'll leave him alone. Because arrests are being made because somebody is informing law enforcement of specific information that can only be found out from someone that is an infiltrator or is a confidential informant. There's traitors in the ranks. And these people are upset, they're mad, and they're on the hunt. They are trying to hunt down who is doing all this. And Timmy Hopper is in the crosshairs, and he knows he's in the crosshairs. He can't just pack up and leave, because then it would be obvious that it's him behind some of these things. So he's kind of stuck. He has to keep up the facade. He has to keep up the hoax in hopes that he can keep suspicion from coming to him. But I'm under the impression that suspicion has come to him. That they are looking at him very closely and they are suspicious of him, as they should be. Because you got to remember, Timmy Hopper has bragged about being a witness for the FBI. Timmy Hopper has bragged about working with the FBI and working with law enforcement. So, the FBI is Timmy's friend. The FBI is not QAnon's friend, and it is not the friends of those in the Patriot movement. And so they are not going to look kindly on somebody that has a history of working with the FBI. And this is where Timmy Hopper and his handler and some others have a problem. Because more and more and more of these extremists are onto them, that are suspicious of them, that are starting to wonder about them, that are keeping an eye on them. And since Timmy Hopper is not in the witness protection program. He's not in a good position right now. Timmy Hoffa shouldn't be worried about his enemies. And his enemies are not the problem. Timmy Hoffa should be worried about his newfound friends. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification. I will be reporting further as more evidence starts to pile up in regards to the Infiltrator. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mark Witness 1. Have a good one.